You're watching Netrush Report, the place where we don't just tell you who won and who lost. We take you inside the moment, inside the emotions, inside the stories that make tennis more than just a sport. If you live for the rivalries, the comebacks, and the unseen battles, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and join a community that sees the game for what it truly is, a living, breathing drama. That we begin with the last time the tennis world saw Jannik Sinner in competitive action, the 2025 Wimbledon final. The All England club was packed. Carlos Alcaraz, the man who had beaten Sinner just weeks earlier at the French Open, stood on the other side of the net. This was the rubber match of the summer. The scoreboard told one story. The faces of the crowd told another. Sinner's movement that day was effortless, his backhand as clean as a surgeon's scalpel. And when match point came, it wasn't just a win, it was vindication. He had taken back control of their rivalry. But behind the cheers and trophy photos, there was a hidden subplot. Sinner was already dealing with an injury that had been nagging him through the grass season. The pain was manageable at first, but by the time the celebrations died down, it demanded attention. The decision was made: step away, heal, and recharge. And for Sinner, that meant going home. "It's been amazing to see my family," he told Tennis TV ahead of Cincinnati. In those words, you can hear the relief of a man who'd been living out of hotel rooms, training blocks, and airports for months. For a while, his life was not about forehands and rankings. It was about reconnecting with the people who shaped him long before the trophies. When he returned to Ohio, Sinner walked into a different Cincinnati than the one he left behind last year. The Lindner Family Tennis Center, a familiar place where he'd lifted the trophy in 2024, was unrecognizable. Over $260 million had been poured into renovations. New buildings, expanded courts, fresh pavilions, wider concourses, common areas designed to host bigger crowds, and, frankly, more chaos. The scale of the change can't be overstated. Imagine a player walking into their home court, only for the living room to be completely rebuilt. For fans, it's a dream. Better sight lines, more amenities, more space to breathe in that summer tennis atmosphere. For players, it's a different equation. Sight lines change. Ball speeds shift. Even the wind patterns can feel alien. And then there's the heat. Cincinnati in August isn't just warm. It's brutal. It's a test of endurance as much as skill. And this year, forecasts are hinting at one of the hottest editions yet. Defending a title in tennis is one of the hardest psychological challenges in sport. You're not chasing the summit. You're already standing on it, and the entire field is trying to push you off. Sinner knows this. He knows that every opponent will treat a match against him as a chance to claim a major scalp. His first opponent this year? Colombian Daniel Elahi. On paper, Sinner is the heavy favorite. But this is the first match back after injury. The margins are thinner than the rankings suggest. Sinner has always been level-headed. But in Cincinnati, the pressure comes in layers. The expectation to win. The desire to prove the injury is behind him. The awareness that Alcaraz, Zverev, Medvedev, and Djokovic are circling, ready to pounce on any weakness. The Alcaraz-Sinner rivalry has already carved itself into modern tennis history. Two players, both young, both hungry, with contrasting styles that bring out the best and worst in each other. At the French Open, Alcaraz took the crown. At Wimbledon, Sinner struck back. Cincinnati could be the third act of their 2025 trilogy if the draw aligns. And then there's Alexander Zverev, the man Sinner beat in the Australian Open final earlier this year. Zverev has been quietly building form in the hard-court swing. He's dangerous, he's patient, and he knows how to play the long game in best-of-3 Masters events. Even Novak Djokovic, now deep into his 30s, remains a lurking threat. His presence in any draw changes the mental climate for everyone. What makes Sinner's Cincinnati campaign more than just a tennis story is the human element. In that pre-tournament interview, when he said, "It's been amazing to see my family," you could see a lighter expression than we've seen in months. Time away from the grind gave him perspective. The injury, while inconvenient, forced a pause that might have been a blessing in disguise. That there's a different kind of confidence that comes from being grounded, from knowing that win or lose, You're more than your ranking. For Sinner, this mindset could be his biggest weapon in the heat of Cincinnati, that if Sinner survives the opening rounds, the tournament could set up blockbuster matches. A quarterfinal against Medvedev, a semifinal against Zverev or Alcaraz, a final against Djokovic. Each potential matchup has history, context, and emotional stakes. The Cincinnati Masters might not have the prestige of Slam, but it's often the clearest predictor of U.S. Open form. If Sinner can win here, especially coming off injury, it sends a thunderous message to the locker room. Wimbledon wasn't a peak, it was just a checkpoint. From the renovated halls of the Lindner Family Tennis Center to the blistering hard courts under the Ohio sun, Jannik Sinner's journey back to competition is more than a comeback. It's a test of resilience. The rivals are ready. The conditions are unforgiving. The champion is returning to defend his crown, and maybe to prove to himself that nothing, not injury, not pressure, not change, can keep him from the fight that you've been watching Netrush Report, where the stories go deeper than the scores. If you felt the heat of Cincinnati just hearing this, imagine what it'll be like on court. Subscribe, stay tuned, and we'll keep you right at the heart of the action.